Yeah. Start the recording.
Awesome. Welcome everyone to the November 14th Planning Board meeting. First thing on our agenda is last month's meeting minutes. And we paid some bills as always. We acted on 7 Cheekwood Avenue LLC, Dawson Diamond, 57 South Ferry Road, resolutions. And we had 2 extension resolutions we passed, one for White and another for SH29 Westnick LLC, both of which we're going to be reviewing another extension for tonight. We had a public hearing on Hills Tam for 169 Ram Island Drive. And I read through the minutes. They all looked okay to me. Did anyone see anything of issue? No. So I make a motion to accept the October 10th planning board meeting minutes.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have 2 invoices now for professional services rendered in October. The first from EHA in the amount of $2,135.63. This had to do work on the Diamond Dawson application, attending a meeting, and general representation. As always, I think 7.5 hours well spent. So I make a motion to pay the EHA invoice for October in the amount of $2,135.63.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye. Second invoice is for the Rayner Group. It's in the amount of $371.25, again for the month of October. It is to review the lot line modification for Borough Hall and attending a meeting. 2.25 hours, and again, very valuable. So I make a motion to accept the Rayner Group October invoice for $371.25.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
First resolution we have is for Locust Hill and Tan, 169 Ram Island Drive. And we discussed the conditions last month. Basically, they're taking down the house and removing a swimming pool and moving a sanitary cesspool out of the wetland setback. You guys got the resolution late. Did you see anything that stood out? So basically, with respect to the statutory limits, planning board found that the applicant meets criteria set forth in 129.5. I think I agree with that. Specifically, the board finds that the proposed project will not negatively impact value, function, or size of the wetlands because applicant is proposing to redevelop the property in a way that eliminates a significant number of improvements from the vegetable buffer and adjacent regulated area. Moreover, the proposed mitigation, including but not limited to an upgraded sanitary system, stormwater recharge dry well, and swales, will offset any negative impact on the wetlands. Project will not have a negative impact on the quality or quantity of groundwater because they're replacing the outdated sanitary system, adding storm wells, dry wells, and swales, stormwater recharge dry wells and swales. All the improvements have a positive impact to groundwater. I don't know that we necessarily need to add it, but they're also willing to put in a 5-gallon per minute well, so they're not going to be drawing a lot. And they're building cisterns for landscape and pool top off. So again, this is a very well thought through project. The applicant is proposing to redevelop an already improved lot. The proposed project is the best alternative because while applicant would be entitled to rebuild the residence over the existing footprint, pushing the improvements further from the wetlands will provide a more substantial buffer to the wetlands and therefore offset any negative impacts. So based on Matt Sherman's drawn site plan of September 7th, 2023, and a landscaping plan by Michael Van Waltenberg dated July 6th, 2023. Usual addition conditions will be wire back silt fencing, storm collection, dry well and recharge and swales for water recharge, stormwater recharge, an extensive revegetation plan, low 5-gallon pump that I mentioned, and requirement that the town's planning board's environmental consultant will go look at the construction when they're done to verify that it meets the landscaping plan.
It's good.
Any questions or thoughts?
I think it's good because you're going from like over 1,500 square feet in the buffer to like 50 square feet. You know, it's like a 95% reduction when they could put a second story on that 1,500 square feet.
Yep.
And there's also a significant reduction in the adjacent area too.
So I make a motion to accept the 169 Ram Island Drive, Resolution 29 of 2023.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate it.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Voice of God.
The next resolution, number 30 of 2023, is an extension for Nelson White's amendment of the subdivision resolution. They are almost complete with their installation. I think the last thing they have is the topping stone, and then Joe is going to go out and do his final inspection. So I think hopefully this is really the last one.
Going on forever.
Yeah.
Forever and ever. So this would extend it to January 8th of 2024. I think everyone thinks it's worthwhile to do this, so I make a motion to accept resolution number 30 of 2023.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
If you want to say, oh, that's not protection, but sometimes you know that it works.
The next resolution is number 31 of 2023 for SH 29 Westneck LLC, Robert Lipsite and Lois B. Morris. I believe, Beth, you have a copy of the recording and have been looking at it. And they just a matter of them getting approval on it and then filing with the county. Is that correct, Beth?
Yes, I reviewed the descriptions and the deeds today. There was a couple issues I think there with the descriptions. I reached out to Karen. She's going to just double check with the surveyor. And
Okay.
then hopefully, once that's resolved, then they'll be good to go and they can record them.
Excellent, excellent. So there should be no reason why they can't do this by January 28th, 2023, which this extension takes them to.
Right.
So I make a motion to accept resolution number 31 of 2023, extending the lot line adjustment deadline to January 8th. Sorry, that should be January 8th of 2024. And the previous one was correct. So just with the one correction of extension date going to January 8th of 2024. So I'm going to say that again. I'll make a resolution, a
motion.
A motion to accept resolution 31 of 2023 with the one correction, amending the date to January 8th, 2024. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You tried to do it before. so-
Yeah.
We did it in unison.
Stereo.
How do you record
That makes it fourth, right?
Okay. The agenda says, next thing, application 60 Annual Lord Road. Let's do that. Yeah, we can do that. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm confusing myself. Let's go to, that closes our business meeting. And let's go to the work session agenda. The first item is the Bloom Miners subdivision. They have until January 11th for their final application submission. Again, as I've mentioned numerous times, they're waiting to hear from the state and county whether they're going to get the IA sanitary system grants, and from West Neck Water District whether or not they can connect to it. And we should have answers for both of those shortly. I hope they've been sitting on this for these answers a long time. We just extended SH 29 West Neck LLC until January 8th. And the same with the White roadway construction. And then 6 Daniel Lord Road LLC and 3 Borough Hall Lane LLC lot line adjustment. We received affidavit from John Wagner, the attorney representing the owners. And Beth, did you get a chance to, or Joe, look through the affidavit? Does it seem appropriate? It's a little more detailed than I think my pay grade.
To me,
Yes.
it looks very thorough. I haven't reviewed it in detail. I did skim through it, but it looks like it's very detailed. So, you know, I don't know where we are in the process. Joe would have a better idea, but if we're getting deeming, you know, for are we getting ready to deem it for a public hearing? Is that?
Yeah,
where we're at, Joe?
That's where we decided last meeting,
Yeah.
if we had received this and it looked
Yeah.
acceptable, then we would set the public hearing.
Yeah,
That's
the
what I thought.
mapping
I mean,
issues were
I
taken
will
care of.
reserve, I haven't looked at it in detail yet, but it appears to be very thorough. I will go through it again, but I don't think it should hold up scheduling the public hearing. I think John prepared a very thorough submission, so I think we should move forward.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Joe, were you going to say something or no?
I was only going to say that the mapping issues had been resolved by the last meeting. So as far as the map goes, it's ready.
Okay. Then let's set a public hearing for the application for next month, which will be Tuesday, December 19th at 7 p.m. And Beth, I'll ask you to write the announcement, the notice, please.
No problem.
That's for our current applications. On to other business. Association of Towns. I haven't been in 12 years. I would love to go, but I don't think I can break away with family commitments. I know you two said you can't.
I can't because I'd like to go.
So the one thing I just wanted to bring up, and that'd be great. I know you've been many times over the last few years.
A few times,
Yeah. Last year, the ZBA couldn't go, and we took their slots.
Yep.
And I think most of the board hasn't gone. So if it's okay with you, I would like to ask the ZBA first if they could take the slots. If they're not being taken, then I'll sign you up. And I think you and your wife,
We went last time. I think Liz is potentially going again.
and you share a room, so it's
Share a
not,
room.
it's not big.
Yeah, but I don't want to take a slot though if there's a.
Yeah, I don't think you took a slot last
Yeah,
year per se.
So I think she was asking, checking in on it. So if she goes, I'll probably end up going because it's nice to have a friend.
Yeah,
We like doing things together. Anyway, but I won't take a slot.
Okay,
So I'm okay with.
so,
the ZBA.
Marcus, with your permission,
Yeah, I thought,
can I see what the
I thought
ZBA
there was
was?
like 2 slots per each board.
There's 2 for each board, but I think none of the ZBA have been, although,
Well, I don't think only 2 of the ZBA members are considering going,
okay,
so, and we don't know how many yet. No more, Amber?
No, I think there's 3 considering going.
Oh, okay.
so,
We still give-
so we may
spots.
still have the one, but we just verify that this week. I just want to be fair to
Yeah,
all
since we
boards,
took
and they
their
were
time.
very nice to us last year, so.
Yeah.
Okay. The next item is the meeting dates for next year, Catherine put together. And I looked at them, I didn't see any conflict of interest. As the town board discussed changing their dates,
No.
so. Did everyone get a chance to look at these dates? Basically, it's just the second Tuesday in every month.
Yeah.
Last year we had a bump, this current year we had a bump a few to the 3rd.
Looks like we're bumping to the 9th and the January one and the September one.
Yeah, to work with the CIC, to try to accommodate.
January?
The January one was originally on the 9th, and it's on the 16th, and September one.
Oh,
No, it says-
I'm looking at this, it says 9th.
This one says 16.
Mine says 16. Here.
Give it all one.
How do I?
I'm not sure, but you can have mine, sorry about that.
Somebody, messing with you.
But I mixed it up tonight.
Good one.
I was gonna say the 9th. 16.
Okay,
All right, so the reason we're bumping to the 16th in January is,
CIC. They need to review wetlands applications and there's been a problem with them
we
having time.
briefly talked about that and we discussed not doing it because we don't know if they'll have a wetlands application in front of them.
My understanding was Christina said to approve it so that they can have the time. Maybe I missed it. No.
Okay,
Let me pull it up.
Skip January.
I'm okay for that. I've just been in short cycles other periods, so I'd rather
Yeah.
stick to the regular schedule. And there was September for sure, and October. It was September and October also. So maybe we tentatively approve this, and if we really,
She said, please approve preliminary schedule and we can adjust January if needed.
okay.
So we can change anything that we need
Yeah.
to.
So I'm okay with this, and then in regards to September and the 17th, I guess both of these have the same date. So let's stick with what you have.
Okay, cool.
And the reason we're approving this now is so that it can be noticed because we have to get it in before the January meeting. Got an email from Matt regarding 10A South Midway Road and a history of lot line changes today. Matt, are you with us by chance? I don't know if you want to explain this to us.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. What we've got here is a couple of properties on South Midway by Joy Drive. They were originally owned by the Bowditches. They had a lot line change or a combination of lot line changes and splits that occurred between 1985 and 1999. One of the owners or the owner of one of the properties has gone to the health department for an approval to put in an IA system. And when the health department compared the application and the survey that was put in front of them with the 1981 tax map, the two did not agree. So we've been spending the past couple of months trying to figure out what's going on with these lots. And as part of the process, excuse me, we're gonna have to do a lot line change with the health department. So we're also gonna have to substantiate that these lot lines, the current configuration has been approved by the town. I've put in a couple of FOIL requests with the town clerk and with Catherine, and there's nothing on file with the planning board of anything being reviewed or approved by you guys. And I've also looked at some meeting minutes in 1984, 1985, 1986, and there was no discussion of this at that time. So it looks like this is something that occurred without going through the town's review process.
Did you look at the meeting minutes from 98? Because the second lot line change was in 98. Did you look at that period too?
I did not. No, I just looked at the original with that split that created the lot that's at 10A South Midway, which is the one that we're looking at. The one in 98 was a merging of the lot that was split off of 10A and merged with another piece of property. But I can ask Amber Wilson for a copy of those minutes and look at those as well. But what it looks like has happened, so it looks like this whole occurred without the benefit of a town approval or going through the town's approval process. So then the question now is, what do we do in order to get all these things to agree so that the lot line that's recognized by the county clerk's office and the town assessor's office has got the blessing of the planning board, and then we'll also have to get the blessing of the DEC and the health department as well. So it's really, the question here is, this stuff all happened a while ago. How do we make it all legal and agree with what the current requirements are?
Clean up on aisle 5.
I know some municipalities had back, in the 80s and 90s and things like that, had some certain exceptions that didn't require going to the planning board for certain subdivisions or lot line. I don't know if you've done any research about if Shelter Island had any of those exceptions. I think Southampton had a time period where if you met certain criteria, you didn't have to go to the planning board, you could just deed things out. East Hampton Village, I know, had that at some time period.
Way back
as opposed
when
to the more modern requirements.
Way back when the building department the building inspector used to approve them on Shelter Island before the formation of the planning board. I don't exactly know what day the planning board formed and when that process switched.
So I think if we could, or if you find it was done during a time period where it was permitted, say, by the building inspector to approve it, that might be something, it might have been done legally, even if there's no planning board file on it.
Okay, yeah, I'll look into that. I was not aware of any kind of exception, but I didn't look for one.
There might not be, but
I'll see what I can find. Yeah, I'll look and see if there is one that exists. There was nothing in the building department files. And a lot of the record keeping back then was done by first name, by last name, by, any number of different organizational systems. So we'll see what we can come up with. And if I can come back next month with hopefully a little bit of a better direction, then great. If not, then we might have to, forge our own path.
Right.
Does that give you somewhere to start, Matt? And I don't know what we can do right now to help move this ahead.
Because if it turns out that it wasn't subdivided properly, or was it a subdivision or a lot line modification?
It's both. There was originally, it was what ultimately ended up being two properties was two properties originally. Somewhere in the middle, it turned into three. So the third piece that got carved off got absorbed by the next parcel, but not for 10 years or 12 years. So it's kind of it's a little bit of a unicorn.
Right. I mean, ultimately, if it wasn't done legally, then you would have to come in now for the for the lot line modification to meet what's there now. I don't know how, with regard to zoning or lot size or frontage or any of
Right.
those criteria for creating lots, how, where you are with that, but those are things that would need to be addressed as well.
Okay, so I'll do a little bit of research and see if there's any kind of an exception,
Yeah.
any kind of a building department run process or anything like that. And hopefully have some answers by next month, and then at
Right.
next month's meeting.
It might help to research or look at the codes during that time period.
Yeah.
And see what the requirements were for subdivision, for lot line modification at that time.
yeah.
I'm sure the clerk has the historic, or the building inspector also might have the historic codes that you can review, or they could send you or anything like that.
Okay, good, thank you, I appreciate that.
So the first part was a subdivision in 85, correct? And then there was a lot line change and that came subsequently in 98.
Yeah, exactly. And then a merger in 99 got everything to the way that they are today.
It might be interesting to look. at
Basically went the
town
most
code.
complicated route they could over the longest amount of time that they could.
Joe, you started saying something?
It might be interesting to research the town code, mainly to see when the provisions for lot line modifications or lot line adjustments were adopted. They may not have existed at that time.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
And are any of these lots improved? Or either?
Yeah, they're both lots are improved, yeah. Both have
And
single.
has the town in the past been issuing permits for these lots?
I have to check to see. I think all of the development on the lots had occurred after these changes had occurred. Excuse me, had occurred prior to these changes occurring. So but I'll have to double check that. But I believe that all the development on site predates these changes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, good. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Sure. Okay, that moves us on to wetlands applications. We just approved the resolution for 169 Ram Island Drive. Then we have a new wetlands application for Flower at 10 Cheekwood Avenue. And we received Joe's memo regarding this.
That's a drainage.
Joe, did you want to walk us through this memo, or is it pretty straightforward?
I think it's pretty straightforward, and the application itself is straightforward. Essentially, they're lifting the existing house to get out of the floodplain.
Okay.
And the
We are,
new first floor elevation is going to be about 14.5 feet, something around that.
So adding deck.
I think the only addition is they're doing expansion of the deck, right? They're removing the existing deck and expanding it.
By 116
Yeah,
square.
But it's, in theory, I believe, permanent deck, but there would be some construction required in the wetlands to do it because they'd have to put in new.
This is interesting because on Corpay, they wanted to build a permeable stoop.
Yep.
And we didn't permit them to do that.
Yeah, this is why race is an issue. It's not totally exactly on the footprint again.
So the way I understand it, and I don't know if we need to go into a full discussion of this, but they're expanding the waterside deck. They're adding staircase to it.
That's correct.
They're adding a staircase on the side of the house to mechanics, and they're expanding on the front of the house, all within the vegetative buffer, which we've only limited to 100 square feet, and they're close to 300 square feet. So I think that's going to be
That is,
The other
one
thing is
hiccup.
that they have a deck there. So it is potential to leave the deck as it is, you know.
it's all about whether they increase the size of
Yeah,
it.
they're trying to square it off to make it bigger, but then
No, I get it.
then up front, they want stairs to go from the deck to the grade. Then they want stairs on the side of the house, and then they want more stairs in the front of the house.
So once you raise the house, you need some way to get into the house. So there is that logic, but
We did think that too.
but it is a problem.
Give you a ladder. Yeah.
What do they need to increase the deck is what I was thinking
Yeah.
about. You can
So,
still.
well,
We'll have to look at.
this is for something them to
That's
present.
the meeting, yeah, exactly. But Joe, I think your analysis is accurate of I think we have a complete it's ready for a public.
It is, yeah.
Meeting.
And then there's, Matt, there was just, since you're here representing the Flowers, there was just some discussion about the stormwater calculations and the dry wells, considering the high elevation is 5 feet. And there's been no discussion in the application of building up the grade for the dry wells. So I don't know, just something for you to consider for your, when you present.
What did Joe recommend?
Absolutely.
Go from stormwater leaching pools to?
So what were those leaching pools you thought may be an alternative?
They're called Cultec leaching chambers.
Mhm.
And basically they're just a foot high as opposed to a 2-foot high leaching pool. So that reduces the amount, it has the potential to reduce the amount of fill that's necessary so that they function properly.
So I think we have enough to set the public hearing. Is everyone okay with that for next month?
Yeah.
So Beth, I'm going to ask you to write another notice for the flower application.
Sure.
And in theory, that would be in this.
That would be again on December
Okay, 19.
19th.
Okay, very good, sorry.
Have two.
To them.
Okay.
Should bring in pizza.
So that's the end of the wetland. No, we did receive a new wetlands application for Stitch at 58 West Moreland Drive. I must recuse myself. But I think not to speak for everyone, but Joe needs to write a memo on
Yeah,
that. So
I think-
that's the next step.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
That's the ask.
Just came in.
Yeah, it
Yeah, just came in this
today.
afternoon. So.
We'll take care of that one.
That's it for wetlands permit applications. Then we have special permit applications that are on hold for 5 Winthrop Road and 1 Pandion, pending the large house moratorium. And that's it. So a short meeting for us. I make a motion to adjourn.
I will second that.
All in favor?
I have my hand up.
Howard Jones.
Oh, I'm sorry, Howard. How are you?
I'm fine. Just listening to this, and I might be a little bit back on some, on the 169 Ram Island Drive project. I'm a little concerned about the changes to that. I don't remember you addressing all the CAC points, the 6 points.
We discussed them last month, Howard.
Yeah, at the meeting.
Yeah. Well, could you just go over one of them? Now,
I don't have them in front of me, unfortunately.
Okay, but I just read the engineer's report in September that was put out by, I guess, Joe. And it says that they're not building a bulkhead anymore. They're going to go to a rock revetment. And that changes the entire idea of where the wetland starts or stops. So how could this be a wetlands approval?
Howard, they removed the bulkhead work and which would be a WMAC review because they're still at the DEC trying to get permits. So they wanted to move ahead with the house. So they removed that component from the application. This was only a wetlands application for the house and the plunge pool and the hardscape that they had proposed. Nothing to do with the bulkhead or anything in the vegetative buffer.
So you approved all the things that the CAC was against at the last hearing? I mean, we had different items. We were completely opposed to it.
I'm right. This is Hill's team.
There. So we ran through our process, Howard, and we thought this was an improvement to the wetlands, the adjacent regulated area. It removed the sanitary system out of the vegetative buffer. It added a slow draining pumping well. It added stormwater collecting dry wells and swales. It has an extensive vegetation plan. These are all positive items. And so we approved it based on that. I unfortunately don't have your 6 points in front of me right now, but I do recall that even the summary you gave us didn't say how you guys voted on the application.
Well, we went through it at the last time and
Yeah,
Right.
and we closed
there's
it.
an error in the transmittal to you.
And we had closed the public hearing at that point too.
Yeah, I
In
know.
discussion.
You didn't address any of the items that we had. And I just think it's wrong. Now you're approving a wetlands permit that you don't even have a wetlands place on the property because the bulkhead is going to be replaced. I read the engineer's report with a revetment, a rock revetment.
If they, Howard, if they get approval for that, then they're going to come back to us for another round. And that's something they acknowledged
So what?
and agreed to.
What I'm saying is, what did you approve that can be done on that property until then?
They can build the house, the tennis court, the guest house, the plunge pool, the swimming pool, the driveway, all those items that aren't affected by the
How can,
bulkhead work.
how can that be? You don't even know how far the bulkhead has to come back. A rock revetment is a big engineering job. And I can't see how you could ever look at this without just holding back and waiting till you get a permit from the DEC. It just seems, it's ridiculous. And I don't remember how you justified the, in the wetlands application, item D2, which is that it couldn't be moved backwards out of 100 feet. I just don't think it's proper to approve a wetlands project that is not a wetlands project. It's an altered wetlands project. Completely.
The application we looked at, application we looked at did not have the rock revetment work in it. We have to look at the application that's in front of us.
Okay. And you approved the application that was in front of you so they could start construction when they don't even know where the wetlands line is going to be.
It is where it is.
It is where it is.
It is where it is now. Well, if they come back and change it significantly, then we'll probably end up saying no to that line being able to move. We're all talking theoreticals here about this rock revetment. We don't even know if the DEC is going to sign off on it.
The DEC hasn't signed off on the bulkhead either.
That's what we're talking about, the bulkhead and the rock
Well,
revetment.
there's a big difference between a bulkhead and a rock. The bulkhead failed.
They're gonna repair the bulkhead and then add rocks to the side of it.
Yeah.
They're not completely getting rid of the bulkhead. They're gonna repair the bulkhead. And then the rock revetment is to the side where there is no bulkheading. So it shouldn't have a significant impact on the wetlands line.
Excuse me, I don't know who's talking. Who was
It's
speaking?
Meg Larson was talking.
Okay.
She's in- Yeah.
I didn't know. Well, I don't know. I just think it's ridiculous to have that approval, but that's my opinion, and that's the CAC's opinion.
Is it your opinion or the CAC's?
DAC said 6-0, denied this application. And whether you got that or not, that's what was written. There's a little error there, and I don't think it's,
Based on the overvet.
Okay, thank you, Howard. We'll make a note of that you do not approve the application.
exactly, and I think it should be noted. I read Joe Lombardi's engineering review on this. I think it was September something, which was after our hearing. We had the hearing on this project, and I just don't know what to say. I mean, we didn't even get another chance at this to say anything about it, because the bulkhead was approved. We really went to say that, until that bulkhead gets approved, it shouldn't be as a wetland admission.
That's not the way it works.
I actually think that you were notified of the application change. But I would have to research that.
Yeah, I got a site plan. That's all I got.
So you had the opportunity to look at it again.
Well, generally, we got asked by, it would have been the town board or somebody else, in this case, the planning board, so that it is complete and ready to look at. Because it's a completely altered wetlands application.
We will do a better job going forth that if there's a major change in the application, to make sure it goes back to you, Howard. How about that?
That's, I appreciate that, but I'm worried about this particular site. I don't know. Well, that's my opinion, and that was the 6 members of the CAC opinion. And that's all I can say, is that I don't feel that we certainly haven't increased the reason for the planning board taking over, but that's another discussion. It's not your discussion. I understand that, but that's okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Howard. Okay, so I make a motion to, I think, remake it to adjourn the November 14th, 2023 planning board meeting.
I think to second that again.
All in favor? Aye. Awesome. Thank you.